Welcome everyone to the Drag Racing Central NHRA Arizona Nationals preview, where we will look at all the storylines going into this weekend's NHRA Arizona Nationals. So without further ado, let's get into it with the top fuel and funny car entry list. Here's your entry list for this weekend's NHRA Arizona Nationals. Let's start off with top fuel. Mostly the same names that we saw in Gainesville. However, two new names stand out, and that is Buddy Hall and Krista Baldwin. Buddy Hall signed a lot of new sponsors in the offseason, has a great crew behind him, and I definitely expect him to be in the conversation this weekend. Krista Baldwin, another driver, she has a lot of fan support behind her, a lot of social media support behind her. If she gets a sponsor, she could definitely be in the conversation this season. And let's move on to Funny Car. We only have two new names racing in Funny Car this weekend. James Campbell and Bobby Bodie. I'm not sure if James Campbell is referring to Jim Campbell. I don't know if they're the same person. I don't know if that's his actual name. But if that is true and that is the same person, well, Jim Campbell's back in a 2018 Camry. And Bobby Bodie, he's already proven that he can be competitive. He made it to the final round in Houston last year where he had the iconic helmet throw moment. So those are two definite drivers that can be in the conversation. James Campbell, Jim Campbell, maybe not as much, but Bobby Bodie definitely has already proven that he can win. So I feel like he will definitely be in the conversation this weekend in Funny Car. We also have new for this season, the Too Fast, Too Tasty Challenge on Saturdays at almost every national event besides the countdown races and the 4-wide races. But to explain what this is in the most simple way I can, basically, they're going to take the semifinalists from the previous week, have a matchup on Saturday during qualifying, and they're going to have them run a mini elimination style bracket. You can see the bracket on your screen. 4 points. The winners, and I think the runner-up's going to get points, so I feel like this is going to be very interesting. I'm very happy NHRA is doing this. It's one of the best decisions they made in a while. And everyone complaining that they're giving out points, I don't really see the problem with that. In my opinion, NHRA's points format has a lot more issues than them giving out points and money to teams during qualifying. So if we're really going to complain about that, then let's get rid of participation countdown. But that really deserves a whole new video. But anyways, let's look at some of the matchups. We'll start off with top fuel. Mike Salinas, Leah Pruitt, semifinalists from last week. Steve Torrance, Doug Coletta, semifinalists from last week. Funny Car, Matt Hagan, Alexis DeJoria, J.R. Todd, and Chad Green. And in my opinion, if you're looking at the top fuel one for a prediction for the winner, in my opinion, I feel like it's going to come from that Steve Torrance, Doug Coletta matchup. I feel like whoever wins that's going to win the race. I mean, the Mike Salinas has the penalty behind him, so that might deepen morale in that team. We'll get into the Mike Salinas penalty in a little bit. The penalty you probably didn't know happened. Doug Coletta, I feel like he's got what it takes if it's cool out there. Phoenix is typically a fast track, so I have a feeling Doug Coletta, if the weather's cool, I have a feeling Alan Johnson, they finally seem to got after it this year, especially with that 364 in Gainesville. I feel like they're definitely going to be the main name in the conversation to win that event. In Funny Car, honestly, it's a toss-up between all those guys. I could see all those guys winning it. I mean, the easy pick would go for Matt Hagan. You could easily say Matt Hagan has what it takes, and he's got the ET and the horsepower to get it done. But J.R. Todd has also shown speed in Gainesville. Alexis DeJoria has shown speed. Chad Green even shown moments of speed. So honestly, that's a toss-up. You can put that between any of those guys. It's kind of the same with top fuel, but I just have a feeling that Doug Coletta is going to get it done. But if you had to pin one guy in Funny Car, it would probably be Matt Hagan. And this is a great thing for this season. NHRA, don't get rid of it. I like it. It's awesome. And I'm very much looking forward to following the Too Fast, Too Tasty challenge all this season. Now for the Drag Racing Central segment called Who's Got Speed Going Into This Weekend. So who, in my opinion, this is all my opinion, of course I could be wrong, who has speed going into this weekend here in Arizona? In my opinion, if you're talking top fuel, I'm going to say Brittany Force and Doug Coletta are both going to be very fast. They're both typically, Brittany obviously is typically a fast car. Doug Coletta has shown a lot of speed in Gainesville. Phoenix is typically a fast track. I feel like those are the two guys you're going to have to look out for. In top field, don't leave out Josh Hart. You really can't leave out anyone in top field. It's just a toss-up. You can give it to anyone. So those are my main two guys. I feel like they're going to have a lot of speed this weekend. In Funny Car, I feel like we're going to see Tim Wilkerson finally get a hang of that new equipment that he's got. I feel like Tim Wilkerson's going to throw down some low 80s or some mid 80s. I feel like he might be in the conversation. I don't expect him to win it, but I feel like he'll be in the conversation. Alex Laughlin, he might step up a little bit, but I do understand that Jim Dunn Racing ride does have a cap. I don't think it's a competitive car to win necessarily. I think he can go out there, go some rounds, maybe make it to the semifinals, but I do not think that car is going to win. Cruz Pedregon, I feel like he's going to turn it around this weekend. Robert Height, definitely, after the very disappointing weekend he had in Gainesville, I feel like he's definitely going to turn it around. And Terry Haddock, I feel like he'll throw up some good numbers this weekend. I just have a feeling that it's going to be Terry Haddock's weekend. I don't, like I said, I don't expect him to win it, but I do expect him to at least make it to the semifinals in a very stacked funny car field for this weekend. All right, I hate to get negative on these, but now we're on to the Mike Salinas penalty, or the penalty you probably didn't even know even happened because NHRA did a very bad job at it. And I'll get into hammering NHRA for that a little bit later. But Mike Salinas was penalized after the Gator Nationals. He got deducted 20 points, and according to Competition Plus, I'm not going to quote the whole article because I want you to obviously go read the article. According to Competition Plus, the NHRA made a mistake weighing their car, so they gave the Salinas team, the Scrappers team, misinformation, so their car was not up to the weight standard, or it was below the weight standard that is required in Top Fuel. So essentially, Salinas was running an underweight car due to not his own fault, but he didn't know because the NHRA tech department didn't tell him, or didn't tell him in the correct way, I guess you could say. But in my opinion, stuff like this, it's not even that it happened. It's okay. People make mistakes. Let's just put that out, number one. All motorsport sanctioning bodies make mistakes. Stuff like this happens. And it's, I guess, per the rulebook, it's right for them to be penalized. It is the team's car. It is their responsibility. But my complaint with this is how NHRA doesn't even acknowledge it. Like, stuff like this is a storyline. Like, people complain that we have no storylines. Well, this is a storyline right here. And this clip, I guess you could say this quote, was from NHRAracer.com, which is not the main NHRA website. This is the website that most racers or sportsman racers will look at to register for events and all that. But in my opinion, this should be like full news article on NHRA.com. Like, the fact that this isn't being talked about, and we know why this isn't being talked about. NHRA doesn't want to go out there and say, our tech department made a mistake. They don't want to go out there and say that. I mean, that's understandable, but it happens everywhere. I mean, F1 this past weekend just took the penalty away from Fernando Alonso like 5 times. So it's understandable. It happens. But the fact that there's no statement from the NHRA, it's just stuff like that is why the sport cannot grow, because stuff like this is just refused to be talked about, and it's just hidden and hidden and hidden. And in my opinion, our sport can't live like that. It's not gonna thrive if we constantly take all these storylines and we just don't talk about them. Like, this is a storyline. This is like, we beg for storylines and we get one and we don't talk about it. So in my opinion, the fact that this isn't even being talked about by the NHRA is very strange, but at the same time, it's very understandable. That's going to be it from the Drag Racing Central preview of the NHRA Arizona Nationals. If you enjoyed, leave a like, comment, and subscribe, and tune in Monday for the NHRA Arizona Nationals race recap. That's all, and I'll see you guys in the next one.